What's up? Welcome to the Storytime podcast. I'm Tim,
I'm Adam.
and this is where we go through my first novel that I ever wrote and completed, Angelic Wars, Legend of the Godchild. Angelic Wars, book 1. And we are on chapter 16.
16.
Yes.
Hey, Tim, there's only 10 chapters left, including this chapter.
And I mentioned this in the last episode, by the way.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
I don't know about that.
I totally
I'm letting
pointed
you
that
know
out.
now that this marks the 10 chapters to the end.
Yes, I'm aware of that because I pointed it out at the end of the last chapter.
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know.
But yes, we're there. We're 10 chapters away, and we're kind of in the middle. But
We're a little past middle, oddly enough.
yes, but we're kind of hitting the midpoint though. So yeah, it's weird. Anyway, what we'll do here is Adam will read a chapter.
Yes.
We'll talk about it afterwards. Before we get to the reading, if you go on and like this episode, we'd love you to hit that like button. No, smash the like button as a prayer to the holy algorithm.
The holy algorithm.
And subscribe to got running content on this channel. And if you're in some mood for some terrible gameplay, go check out the pros of being bad over at Adam's channel, ZOP Gaming.
We're really good at being mediocre.
No, you're really good at being bad.
No. We're slightly better than bad.
No. You're only that way because I've started posting on there. I am the greatest at God of War.
That actually brought us down
I am
a
the
little bit.
greatest at God of War.
Anyway,
Whatever. Well, that out of the way, let's get to the rating, and we'll come back for the conversation.
Chapter 16. Confined. White sneakers slowly took steps across the leaves that covered the ground of the woods. With each step, the crunching sound of the leaves echoed throughout the forest. The way the steps were being taken, the person wanted to make as little noise as possible. After several steps and the noise of each step echoing off all the trees, the person gave up trying to be quiet. Moving from tree to tree, Natalie moved, hoping to stay hidden as much as she could. When she made it to a tree, she made sure nothing had heard her. She also made sure nothing was coming, before she moved on to the next tree. Natalie was only a few hundred yards from Dr. Toller's house, and was being as careful as she could to stay out of sight of the drag pens. After a few minutes, she came to the last tree wide enough to hide her. The big oak tree where she had left her clothes was only 50 feet from her, but no trees were wide enough for her to hide behind if she saw a creature. After checking angles several times and listening to see if she could hear anything that would tell if a drag pent was nearby, Natalie got the feeling that she was sure nothing was nearby, but she knew she needed to go. With a deep breath, she took off towards the oak tree. Dodging the trees and sticks and rocks on the ground, she moved as fast as she could. The sun had gone down, and it was dark enough that it would be hard to tell what was moving. As she approached the tree, she extended her arms to help her embrace herself. Natalie's arms hit the tree as she ran, which caused her to stop suddenly. Once stopped, she jumped to the side that blocked her from the house. She sat on the ground and sucked in air. After a minute or two, she caught her breath and began looking around for the bag with her clothes. She found it almost immediately. Natalie grabbed it and pulled it to her. The bag made a rattling sound as she opened it. She stopped to make sure nothing came out to see what made the sound. Sure that nothing was coming, she stood up and tied the top of the bag. Natalie had a white tank top that stopped just above her navel. She was left with this shirt under her other shirt that ripped off a few hours before when the dragpens were chasing her. Her arms were red and scratched, as was her face, from falling down the slope into the brush. Clearly, she had received no injuries other than these. Her hands were cut up more than anything else, and her jeans were torn just above the knees. Natalie glanced around the oak tree to make sure the coast was clear. After seeing nothing, she took off running farther into the woods as fast as she could. Every so often, she stopped behind a tree to make sure nothing was following her. After a few stops, she saw the pile of trees that she had hidden behind when she first escaped. Thinking it would be a good place to rest before she headed off again, she made her way to the pile of trees. Once there, she ran around to the other side and sat down and began to suck in air once again. They have to be following me, Natalie said to herself. They must think I might lead them to Kiana and the scroll. If they are following me, then they're just doing a good job of keeping themselves hidden. After several minutes, Natalie was ready to go. With her breath fully recovered, she stood up and checked around to make sure she was good to go before running straight back. After a minute, she came to a path and took off down that. A few minutes later, she came to the downhill slope where she jumped and began to run down the hill into the brush. After several yards of running through the brush, she came to the bottom of the slope. Natalie stopped and quickly brushed off any leaves she had on her. It was even darker now and hard to see. She was no longer running as fast. Once she was done, she began to follow the slope for 10 minutes. She came to a flat plain of the woods with rocks all over the place. It was a different rock quarry. She moved into the heart of it. Once in the middle, she dropped her bag and once more began to catch her breath. The heart of this rock quarry had huge rocks all around. There were no other path into it than the one she had used. A small fire was going in the middle, but the light hardly reached to where Natalie was standing. Once she caught her breath, she picked up her bag with her clothes in it and walked over to the fire. Natalie bent over and picked up a few sticks and placed them on the fire. The dying fire roared back to life, giving more light in the quarry. She did not sit. She untied the plastic bag and pulled out a sleeveless black zip-up vest. Only a few feet from the fire stood a huge rock, which was 3 times bigger than Natalie. She walked over to it, and a second later her tank top was thrown and landed on the plastic bag. Almost immediately, she came out and zipped up the vest. She walked over to the fire and sat down. She picked up the tank top and put it inside the plastic bag. As she did that, she found a few cereal bars she brought with her just in case she was hungry. Not wasting any time, she grabbed them and tore them open and engulfed them in seconds. She last had eaten before leaving Oneonta to come back to Red Creek. That hit the spot, Natalie said. I just wish I had brought more and had some water or something to drink. Oh well. Natalie grabbed several more sticks and placed them on the fire to keep it going for a while. Then lay back on the ground and looked up at the night sky. The thoughts of the day raced through her mind, almost getting caught by the drag pens, rolling down the slope, finding the rock quarry, etc. The one thing that kept popping in her head was what Cyrus said to her before she escaped. I wonder if he's come back to see me yet, Natalie asked herself. Won't he be surprised to find out that I didn't need his help after all? I wonder if he was going to help me escape if I stayed. For the next few hours, Natalie fought with herself about if she did the right thing. She had gone against her better judgment when she escaped. She was free now, but that didn't mean she was safe. For all she knew, the drag pens could have followed her and were just waiting for the right time to grab her. While she struggled to determine if she did the right thing, she fell asleep. A slight breeze blew across the forests, which made her cold. The fire had died down where little light was given off it and hardly any heat. Natalie curled up in a ball to keep herself warm during the cold October night. A faint sound that seemed to be far away caught the ear of a sleeping Natalie. It was too far away to tell what it was, but it was slowly growing louder. Not from coming closer, because she was listening more clearly, even though she was asleep. After a few moments, the sound sounded like it was coming from somewhere nearby. The noise sounded something like falling from somewhere, and it was constant. Natalie's eyes shot open, and she sat up to the sound of rushing water. She looked around and saw she was no longer in the stone of the rock quarry. Behind her, not so far away, was a roaring waterfall that rose high into the sky. She could not see the top. The sweet smell of flowers and fruit filled the air. The smell put her at ease to the point where she forgot about all of her troubles. As Natalie continued to look around, she saw no sun, yet it was bright as a summer's day. She rose to her feet to check out her new surroundings. As she walked around, she was amazed by what she saw. All kinds of different flowers. Lilies, marigolds, roses, sunflowers, tulips, etc. However, that was not all. There were hundreds of flowers that she had never seen before. Some had pink petals with yellow mixed in the most unusual ways. Another flower had red dots that melted into purple petals. That was just the beginning. There were colors that she had never seen before. When she smelled one of these new flowers, she was blown away. It was like a perfume, but like nothing she had ever smelled. Every flower had its own scent that was just like perfume. After what seemed to be several hours of smelling flowers, Natalie noticed the fruit in the trees and grabbed a fruit she had never seen before. The fruit looked like a banana, but with the skin of a pineapple. After peeling the skin off, the fruit itself looked like a peach. In 3 bites, she had the whole thing in her mouth. The taste was like nothing she had ever tasted. She reached for another, but realized she was not hungry. Once she was full, she had a thirst and saw a path that led to a lake where the water from the waterfall went. She followed the path down to the lake. A minute or two later, she arrived at the lake and was shocked at how crystal clear it was. Never had she seen water so clear. Not wasting any time, she cupped her hands together and dunked them in and pulled up the water to her mouth. She slurped it down, and to her surprise, after she finished the small bit of water, just like after she ate the fruit, her thirst was gone. "This is weird," Natalie said. "First the fruit, and now the water. Where am I? I feel like I'm in paradise." "You are," said a voice. Natalie jumped at the sound of the voice that seemed to come from all directions. As scared as she was, the voice put her in a peace like nothing she had ever experienced. "Who said that?" Natalie managed after a minute of silence. "Who do you think I am?" the voice asked. "I don't know," Natalie said. "That's why I asked." "I am the Almighty," said the voice. "The Almighty?" Natalie asked. "The Almighty Cyrus keeps telling me about?" "Yes," the Almighty said. "Where are you then?" she asked. "Look up," he replied. Natalie glanced up and saw in bright light, standing on top of the water in the middle of the lake. "Come to me," the Almighty said. "How?" she asked. "Walk on the water," he replied. "I can't walk on water," Natalie said. "How do you know if you do not try?" the Almighty said. She was not sure about this, but she stood up and extended her right foot and slowly brought it down on the water. To her amazement, it was solid, but still moved like water. Just a few moments ago, it was liquid, but now it was firm as the ground. So she picked up her left leg and brought it down on the water as well. It was still firm. So she began to make her way over to the bright, shining light in the middle of the lake. After a few moments, she reached the light. Natalie had to squint her eyes from all the light coming off from the Almighty. And that's when she realized that all the light was coming from him. "See, you can walk on water," the Almighty said. "I guess I can," Natalie said, ashamed she did not believe him when he told her she could. "What is this place?" "Eden," the Almighty replied. "You mean the place Adam and Eve lived?" Natalie asked, shocked to be where supposedly the first 2 humans lived before they disobeyed God and were thrown out. "Yes," the Almighty answered. "Why do you think just one fruit satisfied a hunger that only a full-course meal could? As well, Water so clear that it quenches your thirst from just a small amount. Why am I here? Natalie asked. You were wondering if escaping was the right thing to do, the Almighty reminded her. Oh, yeah, Natalie replied. Your gut was in the right place, the Almighty continued. You should have stayed, and you would have been rescued from the situation without being harmed. But since you did not listen to Cyrus, you must now face the consequence of your choice. Consequence? Natalie said. Fear not, child, the Almighty said. You will come out of this conflict alive. You have a lot of living to do before I call you. I just hope you will accept me so we can be together forever. I would, Natalie began. I just don't understand why you were allowing me to go through all this. To get your attention, the Almighty replied. Couldn't you have done that another way? Natalie asked. In a way my life won't be on the line? Sure, the Almighty said. However, would you have listened? I guess, Natalie said. No, you would not, the Almighty said. I have been trying other ways to get your attention for years, so this way became the only way I decided to make sure I got your attention. Also, others will need your help soon. Well, you've got my attention, Natalie repeated. I just wish... You just wish what? Another voice asked. Natalie opened her eyes and sat up to see Cyrus leaning against the rock only a few feet from the fire. It was all a dream? Natalie asked. No, Cyrus said, walking over and kneeling down. You really were with the Almighty. What you feel is exactly what he is. Peace. Are you sure? Natalie asked. Yes, Cyrus said. How do you know? She asked. Your hunger and thirst are gone, are they not? Cyrus asked. Natalie realized he was right. She was no longer hungry or thirsty. It was like the fruit and water in her dreams she actually ate. It was amazing to be in the Almighty's presence, Natalie said. I know, Cyrus replied. Just remember that for the time ahead, you will need that to help you get through what is coming. You mean I am the consequences for my choice? Natalie asked. Yes, Cyrus said. How it will come about, I am not sure, but the easy way out of this conflict has passed you by. Oh, great. Remember, Cyrus said, the Almighty said that you will come out of this alive, which is more than you deserve. Now go back to sleep. You need your sleep. Natalie did not say another word. She laid back down and closed her eyes. Cyrus stood back up and walked out of the rock quarry. A few minutes later he returned with a bunch of wood, which he put in the almost dead fire. After placing it on the fire, he put his hand over it, and it burst into flames. He stood up and looked at Natalie, who was once again curled up to keep warm. Cyrus took off his trench coat and laid it on top of her to keep her warm. He then sat down next to her and watched the flames dance around. A ray of sunlight came through the branches of the tree and covered her face. The light was so bright she was forced to wake up. She grabbed the coat that was covering her and pulled it over her face. A few minutes later, she realized she was covered by something and pulled it off of her face and looked at it. Cyrus's coat, she said. She looked up to see if he was still there, but as she looked up, all she saw was a shadkin standing by her feet. Before she could move, 6 more appeared all around her. They leaned in on her and vanished.
So, was I right about this being, oh my god almighty, what the fuck?
Yeah, the really, what the...
That's not to talk about it, but I just want to confirm. I was right about that, right?
I mean, you were right.
Okay.
By the way, also, this marks the start of the final 10 chapters of the book.
Again, Adam, I told you this.
I don't know what you're talking about. I never heard any of
Adam,
that.
we literally recorded that episode like 30 minutes ago.
What? I don't remember any of that, so...
Well, maybe if you would stop smoking your weed
I don't know what you're talking
and being
about.
so high right now, yeah, you'd remember that as you light up a roach.
Oh, no.
That's not a roach. That's a pre-roll.
Gotta love a good... It keeps me in the mood of being able to do all these voices.
No, be honest, Adam. It's what keeps you in the mood for dealing with me.
Yeah, that's a true, total honesty.
Why I'm not stoned out of my mind to deal with that face of yours?
I don't know.
I
don't know.
All right, let's take this from the top, Adam. Big picture of this chapter. What are your thoughts?
Not bad. Not bad. I mean, we finally introduced one of the characters we've been talking about for a while.
I know. Let me ask you this.
Yes.
Would you agree that how this chapter starts should not be...
No.
No. How... to the continuation if we were to merge this chapter.
It should not be the continuation of the previous chapter.
Yes.
There
that's
needs
right.
to be something in the middle of this.
And I think there was at one point.
Also...
Because when I was transcribing this, when I transcribed this, Adam, I was expecting something to happen in between. When I got to the next chapter to start, like, wait, what? This is here? I swear this was... What the...
Already walking? Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, what you were going to say?
So... Natalie's pathing in this chapter brings a lot of questions to my mind, okay? So we leave her at the previous chapter sliding down a hill and getting away from the drag pad. Obviously.
We'll need to come back to the revision of that part in this chapter, but continue.
It's described that she falls into a bunch of brush and scrapes up her legs and
rolls.
She gets.
I don't believe it. She said she fell into it.
Yeah.
Which will a reason why we'll have to talk about that in a second.
So she leaves there. She finally gets back to the tree that has her clothing.
No.
No?
Because this is a few hours later from that.
Where was she just lying at the bottom of this pit?
She was in the rock quarry.
When did she get to the rock quarry?
Because when she gets back there...
you don't mention the rock quarry until much later.
Okay, hold on. So, the chapter opens with her going to get her clothes.
Yeah.
Going back to the rock quarry. This is where you brought up the fire being already lit.
It doesn't say she went back to the rock quarry.
It didn't say that. But after she's changed and she thinks about how she got there, she talks about how she rolled down there, walked for a while, came to the rock quarry. That's her explaining how she got to the rock quarry. The fire was started when she first got there, and then waited to realize she needed to go back for her clothes.
But it's not explained that way.
It is. She's remembering it, but it's not written in a way that makes sense.
No, because the way it goes is we catch up with her as she's headed over towards getting her clothes.
Hours later.
And then she heads back to the woodpile that she had previously been at, then goes over to the hill that she fell down the previous time, now slides down that one, and then heads back to the rock quarry again. She went in a circle.
No, in the time that she has passed from getting to the bottom of the hill, when she rolled, fell, whatever happened, happened. Hold on.
She goes in a circle.
No, she does not. It's written that way.
Okay. She's at the bottom of the hill.
Hold on. No, comes off that way, but it's meant to become. The events happen this way. Hold on. I know I didn't write it that way. I'm telling you how it's supposed to take place.
I'm letting you explain this. She's at the bottom of the hill. Where does she go?
She gets up and wanders until she comes to the rock quarry.
Boom. She's at the rock quarry. Where does she go?
From there, she's there for a little bit. This is when she starts that fire that you said was...
Okay. Yep.
We'll have a question about, is it that's the same rock quarry somewhere else? Then goes back to the oak tree.
Now she's gone to the oak tree to get her clothes. Okay.
And then comes back to the rock quarry.
No. She doesn't. Because after the oak tree, she goes to the wood pile.
The wood pile's on her way to the rock quarry.
That means that she passed these things more than once.
Yes. Remember, first novel.
Yeah. So
But
she
anyway.
goes in a circle.
But that's how. I mean, I know the way you were saying it sounds like she gets to the end of the pile, goes back for her clothes, then goes to the rock quarry. That's how it does come off, but it's not how it's supposed. The events.
She goes from the wood pile to the hill, slides down the hill this time in a manner that she was able to control it, and then heads to the rock quarry where she finds a fire pit that is already lit. That, according to the audience and the way the book reads, no one knows why it lit.
I know the way it reads is.
She then discovers it after.
No, she's the one who started it and everything, but the way it's written is poor at how
I'm
the
just
events.
saying.
But anyway,
Hey,
by the
anybody
way,
that agrees with me down in the comments, you're amazing.
and by the way, it's totally the same rock quarry that Sid was in, even though it says a different rock quarry.
Which actually would explain why there would be a fire pit in there.
Yes.
Now, why it would still be lit.
It
after
wasn't
so many
lit.
days.
She started the new fire. Anyway, okay, let's go back. Let's deal with a bigger issue, Adam.
Yeah.
Did Natalie really need to go back to the oak tree for her spare clothes?
I mean, her
If
shirt
she-
is ripped.
If she was just going to take the tank top she has on off to put on a zip-up sleeveless vest.
Who does that, by the way? I don't know about
And
you.
then, if that's necessary, why did she have to come back the way she originally went from there? Instead of finding a path that would take her... So she
From the tree back to the quarry in as straight of a line as possible.
No. Why didn't she find a way? So, because when she gets to the oak tree, she immediately spins to the side, so she's blocked from the house.
Yeah.
So they can't be seen, implying that she's coming at a way so she can be seen the entire time. Finding a path that takes her to the oak tree, where the oak tree blocks her the entire time.
You would think.
Now, I'm not gonna speculate on this. Very more beyond this one thought. There could be a reason, like I don't know how close I could get to find the oak tree and do that. I can understand that, but I think
But she's also near the driveway.
But I think there's more of a rationale that you could have spent a little more time creeping from tree to tree to find a path to find the oak tree.
Yeah, you could have.
Anyway.
Also, she's near the road.
No, that's the oak tree's on the side of the house. Not she's closer to the tree, to the driveway.
Yeah.
Not to the road.
Okay.
But yeah. Anyway, at least and also, so we're back to the pile of trees.
Yep.
But not climbing over them. We're going around them this time.
Yes.
And before we rest. But we're not waiting 30 minutes
She was there for so long.
to rest this time.
Nope.
She's learning.
Yeah, she's like, I only need like an 8-minute rest this time.
I only need 15 this time to go like enough 100 feet to the rock quarry. Apparently, no, it's supposed to be further away.
Yeah,
but
oof.
Okay. So now we have to deal with the changing of the clothes and everything.
Yeah,
We gotta deal with the events of what actually happened. Did she roll down the hill or did she fall down the hill?
Also,
And
when she fell down after rolling, she tried to roll and it just turned into a tumble.
no, so the events of the last chapter,
Yeah.
the original way was why we get to the description, the more detailed description of her shirt ripped than we need to.
Okay.
Which is the second drag pin picks her up and Holder is about to not kill her, but wound her,
Smack her around a little
smack
bit.
her around, torture her a little bit for enjoyment, when her shirt rips and she falls down the hill and rolls.
Oh, but no, we don't get that.
But I changed it for some reason when I changed the outline and everything to her rolling down. But again, not changing the details.
Yeah, in the next chapter.
The next chapter, or the next, if they become irrelevant, to her falling down. No, she rolled down. Also,
It was a little uncontrolled. It's okay.
next question. Why did she change behind the big rock?
I don't know.
She's alone.
Absolutely alone.
You know what it was?
Also,
I know what it was. I know why
Yeah,
it was.
yeah,
In
yeah.
case Cyrus decided to appear to her while she was changing, she wanted modesty.
He can appear everywhere, so it doesn't matter.
She goes behind the rock. Cyrus is gonna appear.
He's there. He's like,
no,
this was where I was going to appear.
No. As she's in mid, she's already tossed the tank top out. She's about to put the jacket on. He appears like, this is gonna be so. He's talking like, this is gonna be so awesome. I'm gonna walk out behind this big rock. She's gonna be like, what the fuck? And he turns and grabs her chest like, why'd you appear?
Okay. Here's another thing. It's a October night.
I know.
And now she is wearing ripped jeans. Okay, that's not that terrible. And just a sleeveless vest.
I know. And there's a reason why she put the vest on over the tank top instead of putting it without the tank top on. Which she has no reason why she took the tank top off.
None.
It's not like it's torn and ripped in its own.
And didn't she have like another set of clothes in that bag?
Apparently not. Even though that's the whole reason I said spare clothes.
Exactly.
There's a reason for it, which I'm not going to get to here.
Okay.
But it's to set up a thing that got taken out of the game, out of this book. So when we get to those chapters, when I get to that chapter,
you have people making really bad decisions, which were supposed to set other things up that you've now removed.
And yes.
So now they're just making bad decisions.
Yeah.
Again,
Again, first novel, so it makes sense to not think about.
No one's motives mean anything.
It doesn't. It makes sense in your first novel not to realize like, oh yeah, I've changed something. Oh, that affects other things.
Yep.
That I've not, and stuff like that. Okay. But yeah. The thing is the whole changing behind the rock. I couldn't even.
It doesn't make sense.
I don't know why I had her change there. Yeah, I don't know why. I cannot tell you why at all. But again, this is totally the same rock where that stage was in. I don't care what it says. This is totally the same one.
Yeah.
So, do we want to deal with the dream, or do we want to talk about how she goes on questioning herself after congratulating herself on escaping without Cyrus's help first?
No, we're moving right on to the dream.
Okay. Thoughts on the dream?
Because that makes just as much sense as her congratulating herself and doubting herself at the exact same time.
I mean, the doubting part was there to, okay, I got out on my own.
But should I?
So I'm away. But
Cyrus doesn't know where I am now.
But should I have stayed? Because last time I even admitted I was wrong, but I did it again. Like, it makes sense to doubting herself a little bit. But it should have ended with her coming to like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Now I've made my choice. I have to deal with it. But that I didn't want to deal with that yet.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to settle on her if she was going to become a Christian or not in the book.
And then the dream happens where she goes, I'll be honest, you as the author go straight soapboxing.
Soapboxing?
Yeah, this entire thing was, I'm God, believe in me. Oh my God, you are God, I will believe in you. And it was just, it is such
I wouldn't say
born again type of situation.
I wouldn't say, oh my God, you are great, I'll believe in you part. I wouldn't go that far, but the beforehand,
it gets real close to that.
Oh yeah, so here's what my notes are on the dream.
Oh yeah, let's hear them.
This dream was totally ripped from Shadowmancer. There's it's a similar version, different events, but there's a dream sequence where the Almighty, or whatever they call him in, the king, or I can't remember what it was, comes to one of the characters in a dream to help sustain them, and similar things. The drink the water and fruit, filling her in reality, was totally from Shadowmancer. Same thing happens in there.
It's also from the Bible.
So, but like totally from there, ripped off that. So yeah.
Walk on the water to me.
Oh no.
I don't know if I can. You can. All right.
I
Doesn't. By the way, I do enjoy this. This Almighty is a little sassy. It's like immediately she's like, I don't know if I can do that. And you can. And she went, okay. And he's just like, yeah, you can do it. It's all right.
You can do it, girl. Come
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. In this world, you can do anything you want.
Yeah, those are the. There. I also like my comment on the calming voice that brings peace.
Hey, it's my voice.
No, I'm talking about God, the Almighty's voice.
Oh, okay. Yo, what's up, homie?
But so yeah.
Yeah, the Almighty is he's a brother to all of us.
So do we want to
love
talk?
him.
Do you want to talk about the message the Almighty brings to Natalie?
Hey, I'd help you right now, but look, it's the consequences of your actions. That's really what it was.
Oh yeah.
And she was like, okay, I guess.
Sure. A loving God throwing out those whole "you didn't listen to me once" and lied, and what would happen? Oh yeah, this is the thing about Eden when she describes Eden. Yeah, a loving God, a true loving God, is going to throw out His creation when they disobey Him once, the first time ever, lied about it. The punishment is so much that you have to be thrown out of this place to the point where you have
Where's
to
the second chances?
heavily labor to get food. The woman has to go through unbearable pain to have children now. Yes, a loving God. Consequences of your actions. No!
Didn't we just say that this was the Almighty that was all about second
I know.
chances?
He's the God of second chances. He's
Except for the first time.
Yep. So yeah, that was like the whole thing. Like when I bring up Ian, like, oh, I gotta comment on that. Yeah, you're a loving God. The first time they disobey you, the punishment is they don't get out of paradise.
Get the hell out of here.
And they have to heavily label to get it.
Turns out he's like, actually, it wasn't the first time. They keep telling that story to everyone else. In reality, they organized all of the animals and the other people living here. There were other people living here in a revolt against me.
To get to the tree of
knowledge.
No, it's what was the other one?
I don't know.
Oh, the tree of life.
Tree of life, yes.
But they only got to the tree of good of knowledge, good of evil.
Yeah.
That's when my angels were like, holy shit, they actually are serious.
Yeah, they organized and they took a vote, and it wasn't very good. So I said, if they didn't want me as their leader anymore, then they have to leave.
Yeah. No, but yeah,
because I own this place. I'm in total control. In fact, I can't actually leave this place. I'm always here.
Yeah.
At least part of me, anyway. I created this.
So, what was the whole point of this consequence of your actions thing? The whole point of this is going on is explaining this chapter by the Almighty. What is it?
I don't know.
To get her attention.
Yeah. Hey, Natalie. All right, you know what? I'm just going to...
So,
by the way...
That's his excuse. The Almighty's excuse is...
So her becoming the Godchild was him trying to get her attention.
You can then make the argument that he tried other things beforehand and it didn't work and put her in this position. But
She's
also because
only 15,
because he's all knowing, knew that, made her the Godchild to set this up.
Yeah.
So my thing is here is an all-power God can't come up with other ways to get their attention that will get their attention without pain and emotion. You want to get their attention. You know everything.
Yeah.
But because, you know them so well, you know this one thing. You created them.
Yes.
So you can put things into position. You can arrange things ahead of time to get their attention, to acknowledge you. other than pain and emotion.
So-
because most people who come to Christ after, if they're not raised in a Christian home, is through an emotional, painful event generally.
Yeah. Also, here's another funny thing about this. According to this, and that this is all an attempt to get Natalie's attention.
Yep.
Making her the Godchild, which means that he's also manipulating Monono and Troll and Dr. Toller. He is in control of both sides of this situation.
Yes. That's how Christians view the world.
This is
View
absolutely crazy.
They think that, and that's the thing when people brought up like, how does the devil not know he's being manipulated? How can he be that like? Oh, and their answer was like he can't believe that God's controlling this and arranging it. He can win this thing. The answer was he's so prideful and of himself that he thinks he can win. That even then, like, that seems flawed to me.
That is really flawed.
And not necessarily flawed, but like I couldn't think of a better answer for it. But I just didn't see. I never liked that answer, even when I was heavily in the doctrinalization of this, and would use it myself. But I never truly liked that as an answer. It just makes no, like, and I think the best way I would have described it is it's to a level of pride that no human could ever experience to do that. I'm like, no, I still don't buy that. But yes, that's how I believed at the time.
All right.
And that's how Christians believe. He's in control of both sides. And how is Lucifer the bad guy?
Yeah.
He is the one who's arranging all these bad events.
Fate
you don't
is already
understand.
predetermined.
It's for our better. It's for our better us to better ourselves, to make us better people. But he's all knowing, all powerful, and he can't come up with a better way. In other words, he wants to do it this way. We don't understand his way. I can understand. I may not fully understand of being that powerful, but I can question that if the only way is to do it this way, he is not all knowing.
No.
Because there is other ways he could have done it, but he allowed, so he has to do it this way. To rely on emotion, to then go into a religion that hates emotion.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, depending on what denomination. Some over-rely on the emotion. Baptists, they hate emotion.
Yeah.
Like, they hate everything else.
Yep.
But, yeah, that was this point. Like, and I got away with a salvation, remove a scene of Kiana getting saved because it was too Christian. But this
you
was
left this in. Wow.
I probably would have toned this down a little bit more. I wanted to keep this in. I probably would have toned it down some.
I mean, you could have easily had her wake up in this wonderful, beautiful place as a dream. And she looks over and she sees somebody that she doesn't recognize, but absolutely at her core realizes she knows this person.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just an explanation of, hey, look, like an older brother would explain, or a father would explain, hey, look, we have to go through crap sometimes to come out on the other side, to maybe be better, or at least learn not to go through that crap again. And if I intervene and get in the way of you going through this crap, because you chose to go through this crap, it won't help you learn from why you shouldn't be going through this crap.
Even though I'm the one that put you...
Though I'm the one who set this situation up.
Which is not my fault in any way, shape, or form.
I did not do it willingly. There are way more threads going on than I actually can handle right now. Yeah. That's why I have free will. It allows me to just kind of wiggle the pathway into what I want.
Yeah, no.
While you guys make your own pathways through that area.
Yeah, it's just... It was stuff like this and rationale when I left Christianity. Because I was seeing people turning events that were meant to be a pure outreach of, hey, you're away from home. Here's a safe place,
Yep.
fun place. You can come get a free meal, home cooked meal, and hang out, have some fun. Yes, we're going to talk about what we believe, but it's optional. 2, oh, they're not sticking around for the message. How are they going to get saved? Because God can't work in their life if they don't hear the message. Let's pull a rug over. Let's move the dinner, but not tell anyone. Let's over-rely on religion and worship here.
Yep.
And I was like, where did this come from? Like, how? Because are you doubting your own God that you have to change these things? And I was already questioning my own things, and I was like, I'm done with this. Like,
I don't blame you.
Enough Christians have been. I'm starting to know the patterns that we're turning into the Christians as they are today. That God is our current present for the second time. Not to get political.
Well, really.
But I was starting to notice trends, and I was done with it. Like, it was not love. It was a strict obedience to a doctrine, not the Bible. A doctrine based on the Bible, which is only made up of pulling sentences, paragraphs out to make them say what you want to say.
It's not that. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's move on. So
do we want
Cyrus.
to get the big reveal here?
What?
That's not a reveal.
That's no reveal that Cyrus may or may not be the Almighty?
He's not. Or let me put it this way. He was never intended to be, but I sure did write him like he was.
Yeah, he's the character that keeps showing up and giving advice on things that they really, if they're such a common angel, wouldn't even know about.
Well, here's the thing. Yes and no about the common angel thing.
Right.
Because we don't see another common angel
Exactly.
to compare him to. So it's very well possible a common angel could have this knowledge. But here, in this chapter, he literally continues the conversation with the Almighty without missing a beat or changing the approach of how to have the conversation, which a different person would.
Yep.
So either all angels are just vessels for the Almighty's voice.
I mean, that's possible.
Or Cyrus is a different being. Or Cyrus is the same being.
Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, you have to say, I think the reader would come to the conclusion. Maybe not to the conclusion, but I'm very certain Cyrus is the Almighty.
In disguise, at least.
Which will then completely be changed and ruined by the end of the book.
Of course.
But honestly, I do like this idea of Cyrus being the Almighty running around here.
I love that idea that he's like, no, I'm protecting the Godchild in my own way without actually interfering, because I'm not allowed to interfere in these situations, even though I'm the one who sets the rules. But
yeah, I know. No, I know.
Or even better is, as we reveal the Almighty, great explanation. This conversation would be like, you're the Almighty. You're the one who created everything. And no, I'm not. I'm the ninth in succession. Like, that was somebody far before.
See.
And she's like, well, why don't you get involved with this? And he's like, well, it was the fourth reign.
See.
They made the rule that only the Godchild could be the one who ascends to the throne.
See.
And
yes. Great story. Probably see where I'm probably going to go with a rewrite of this.
Oh, probably.
But at the time, that was it. The whole Godchild and the whole element of a God successor is kind of a spoiler.
Yeah,
a facade. I'm just going to go with that much.
Okay. Because, I mean, that's a pretty cool, like, you're now building that lore into, it's not so straightforward. It's like, no,
that would be cool, and that's probably a direction in a way I'm probably going to explore.
I ascended.
Explore, but at the same time, that was not what I was going for. It was my rationale of how to have this conflict.
Okay.
In a sense. Yeah. Again, first novel.
Yep.
And everything. Didn't fully understand the story or even serial structure because I wanted and everything. But first novel, yeah. I mean, and what I'm doing here when we get to talk about more details of why, can work as a reason, but you have to have, but it doesn't work here because it's silly. I want to tell a story. I had no reason for this events to happen, so I'm just gonna invent this facade. That's it.
You're just gonna force this through anyway. Okay.
But yeah, well, when we get to the chance when we can talk about that element, we will. But yeah, by the end of this, it's a reader would believe Cyrus is the Almighty.
Yes.
Or at least think.
And then Natalie gets abandoned by him again.
He was nice enough to leave his jacket so she stayed warm. That shows a true loving Almighty.
And then she gets captured.
Did she?
I mean,
the
I guess
Shadcans
so.
appeared.
They leaned in and then disappeared.
But it doesn't say they grabbed her and teleported with her. Yeah, she gets captured, obviously. But a little detail may have been missing from the book.
I still in my head see that they all lean in towards her and she's like, oh, and then they just disappear. And she's like, wait, what? What? Like she sits up. Even Cyrus floats by and he's like, no, really, what?
Yeah, what? What's going on here?
By me? What the hell is going on? And she's like, wait, you're the no,
I didn't say that.
Floats away.
I didn't say that. I was never here. Yes, you are. You're right there. He floats behind the big rock. I was never. I can hear you. Okay, if I just wait here long enough, you'll think I can still hear you. God damn it. But teleporting being able to teleport in.
Yeah.
Instead of like flying in would make more sense with this.
I know.
But at the same time, I can't ruin it in the later chapters. It's so funny how bad I ruin it.
You give him so many powers.
Oh, I don't.
Oh, no.
But anything else you want to talk about this?
Nope. That's everything for this chapter.
What do you think of the build so far of the book up to this chapter?
Okay. I mean, I kind of feel that you got preachy in this one a little bit, but that was just me.
But again, the whole point was
I know.
A secular novel, a Christian secular novel.
Yeah.
Yeah, this would have failed.
Absolutely.
People got into this like, oh.
You're like, no, we're good.
Nope.
And then told their friends about it.
Yep. So, yeah. All right, so if we got nothing else to add here, we're going to wrap up this episode of the podcast. What did you think of this episode? What did you think of the message by the calming voice that came from everywhere that
the
brought
Almighty.
Peace to her?
Yeah.
And his message. What do you think of that? Tell us that in the comment section. Tell us about if you disagree with our rant on Christianity. Just know.
I mean, at least Tim's rant.
Yeah, my rant.
I didn't really rant.
You agreed, though.
Look, I have my reasons for
not
being into church.
Yeah. But just know, if you comment on that, against that, prepare for a response. Not ripping, but it's a response.
At least a response.
Be able to defend yourself, defend your viewpoint.
Right.
Anyway, also, if you made it this far, I'm assuming you enjoyed this podcast episode, so why not go and sacrifice the like button as a prayer to the holy algorithm.
The holy algorithm.
And subscribe because got running content on this channel, which will be up on screen now. Pick what you want. Maybe you're in some moods for some bad gameplay. Go check out Adam's channel, ZOP Gaming.
Heck yeah, get over there.
Yeah, check that out.
Top-end mediocre play.
Whatever you choose, we'll see you there. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.